What's up, sports fans? This is Igor, your host for Boys Couch and Rugby Ball, and today we are going to look at Australia's prospects before we end into the World Cup, starting on the 21st of September in the lovely rugby-loving country of Japan this Saturday, and we are in our glamorous Pretoria studio, otherwise known as Henny's Bachelor Flat. And we have in the studio today a reliable foursome without Linda, who is unfortunately again consulting for some of the world's biggest rugby teams. He's got Jake White on his speed dial, so he won't be able to join us. But we've got Chris Nonu in today, and we've got Nicolisi. And Barent, who's today's coffee maker / water boy. So guys, just before we're going to get sexy and serious, how was your weekend, Henny?
Well, Igor, not that exciting. Did my job well as a analyst. And I looked at all the sport games, all the events this weekend. Was very focused. I didn't have any distractions. I kept all the women away for this weekend. And yes, sat here, drank my water, ate my carrots, and just watched a great weekend of sport.
And Chris, is what Henny's saying true? Did he drink his water and eat his carrots this weekend?
Well, Igor, I'm not sure what he ate or drank, but this morning at 4 o'clock, Henny did a Michael Checker, the clown himself, and crawled up the stairs this morning at 4 o'clock. Disgustingly drunk, doing all the sins in the world. But yeah, it interrupted my sleep, but luckily I felt better this morning than he did.
And Chris, did you do some sinning this weekend?
Unfortunately not, Igor. I had to do some studying. I watched a bit of sport, watched the Ashes. And yeah, a bit of football, but yeah, not much, unfortunately. But next weekend is coming. It's coming home.
And Barent, you had a nice adult-like weekend this weekend.
Yes, definitely. I went early to bed on my Friday evening. Woke up at 5:30 on the Saturday. Wrote a nice test. Another day full of academics, and I had a 22nd. Hardly any alcohol was drunk, whatever the word is.
I think it is drank.
Hardly any alcohol was drank.
No, that doesn't sound right.
Drunk. Hardly any alcohol was Drake. Yeah, and then I played 30 seconds the evening while drinking wine. So all in all, a very, very mature, very depressing weekend.
Awesome, guys. I always love having exciting and happy panel in for these type of things. So without further ado, Australia number 6 in the world rankings, doing some slipping after the last World Cup. A couple of up and down results this year, beating New Zealand, losing against South Africa, beating Samoa, losing pretty heavily against New Zealand at home. So just right off the bat, Barent, where do we see Australia going in this World Cup?
Yes, Igor. I think the first match that they play against Wales will be the pivotal one, and they'll determine whether they make the semi-finals or even better, perhaps unlikely, but perhaps, or whether they fall out in the quarterfinals. If they can beat Wales on the 23rd of September, then they've got a good chance of making the semi-finals. But if they don't top their group, then they go to play against an informed England team, and I do not see Australia with their lights pack getting past a solid looking England team.
Henny, Chris, you as brothers, do you agree with Christoph?
Yes, I completely agree with Christoph, Igor. I do think that Australia has an amazing backline like they've had for the last 55 years, but they've have a very weak forward pack. they have a pack that can be dominated, a pack that can be put under pressure, especially in set pieces, and I think that will be their downfall. What is much better for Australia is the fact that Michael Cheika brought back some experience into the team. Someone like David Pocock coming back from injury, he'll be a massive advantage or a player for them this World Cup. Someone like James O'Connor, I think, was a master stroke on his behalf. Not that he has many, but that was a good option for him to bring him back into the side. But yes, I do agree. The Wales game is going to be the game for Australia to really focus on, put all the energy into it. Because if they win that, I see them making the semi-finals, because they more than likely will play France or Argentina in the quarters, which I expect them to win. But if they lose to Wales in second, they will probably get knocked out in the quarterfinals by a rampant English team with two Vunipola brothers. So yes, that's my analysis.
And Chris, he spoke about Australia not having the best forward pack from the other teams that we can discuss this week in the World Cup. What specifically for you, if you're looking at that forward pack, where are they going to come up short?
Well, you got two things. It's probably going to be their tight five. There's going to be issue come scrum and line-out time. They are quite vulnerable when it comes to scrummaging. That's going to be massive for them. And with the inclusion of David Pocock, we're going to play loose trade with Pocock, Hooper, and someone else. You are losing a line-out option. So that's probably going to be their major vulnerability come World Cup. But yeah, all in all, I know we all back Wales to beat them in the pool stages, but you can never write them off. They've got a good, experienced coach. I know we all hate him, but Michael Cheika is really a good coach in my opinion.
He's an absolute hit at children's parties with his big red nose.
I know. But if you see if you look at the previous 4 World Cup fixtures between Wales and Australia beat them all 4 times. So they are Wales bogey team when it comes to World Cup. So don't write them off. But yeah, I think best case scenario, World Cup semi-final, and they won't go further than that.
And Chris didn't touch heavily on the loose trio. What for you, if you had to look at that loose trio and think, I'm speaking now about Pocock, that'll probably start, Michael Hooper, and probably maybe they go with Nasserai or maybe Jack Dempsey or Salakai Lotu. One of those two. What do you think is going to be the problem there for them in this World Cup, looking at their back row?
Well, Igor, to me, the fact that David Pocock is back is a massive advantage for Australia. I still rate him as probably the best out-and-out fetcher in the world. The problem is Michael Cheika has named his captain as Michael Hooper, and the two of them playing in the same team, to me, causes an imbalance in the loose trio. The problem is by playing both of them, you lose a lot of physicality. You lose a line-out option, which Australia already will struggle with. They lose that physical ball carrier, that guy that makes the tackles, hits the ruck. Someone like a Pieter Steph de Toy, the work he does for South Africa. So yes, I think that is the combination and the mix of the loose trio with both David Pocock and Michael Hooper is for me a massive problem. So yes, it will be interesting to see what he does. In my eyes, the perfect loose trio combination is a big physical line-out option on the blind side flank. The open side will be your fetcher, and your 8th man should be a hybrid, someone like Dwayne Vermeulen that does both pretty well, and also a line-out option. And to me, they've got a world-class fetcher, and that's pretty much it in that loose trio. And I think if they're going to play teams like England with Billy Vunipola, big physical teams, it will just make life for Pocock so much harder because he doesn't have 2 other loose forwards that's going to smash them back, give him opportunity to steal ball, and I just feel he's going to be on the back foot constantly, even though he is still, in my eyes, the best at what he does.
And then, Christoph, looking at that back line, there's a lot of talent there, and pretty good combinations. Kurtley Beale, obviously in the squad. James O'Connor being called up. What is your feeling about the Australian backline?
No, we saw against New Zealand at Perth where the backline rang right all across the pitch. They can definitely bring the game to the opposition. They've got they've got pace, they've got power, and with James O'Connor in the lineup, they have the skill. And I don't know if Michael Cheika is going to do it, but as Henny also said previously, James O'Connor must be in that centre lineup. He is the hands. He's the playmaker that they need to bring pace to the team. He can pass the ball to someone so that guy can run the perfect line. Without James O'Connor, then they just become a bunch of hard hitting backline, but not with enough skill to really make the difference.
Yeah, I have to say I completely agree with you. And having someone like Kurtley Beale at fullback will probably put him up to become first receiver on attack on occasion, as just like South Africa does with Willie Leroux. And I can't remember which game they played, but they played with Kurevi and Kurundrani at 12 and 13 a couple of times, and there was just not enough, and the distribution and the skill level just wasn't there. And it's all well and good to have awesome smashing wingers and quick wingers, but you have to get the ball out there and you have to construct a creative attack in order to break the opposition down, especially with Australia playing a very, very flat line on attack. They need some impetus there. And I think ideally you would want someone like Kurtley Beale at 13 and Israel Folau, or Kurtley Beale at 12 and Israel Folau at fullback. But as you know, Israel Folau isn't in that squad. So and James O'Connor, I think, will definitely have the ability to release the wingers and take on the opposition by himself as well. He's a very good player if his nose isn't full of cocaine the whole time. So I really think that it's true what you're saying there, Baron. The backline has the ability to generate that go forward, but from a forward perspective, I think they're going to struggle to hit the ground running if they get deprived of ball come set piece time. And Michael Cheika has been a good coach tactically. I think he has completely overachieved with Australia in the previous World Cup. And I hope for his sake he continues to do so, because Australia don't really have another option for a coach except maybe Stephen Larkham, if he would be keen to stay on. But yeah, we'll see what happens in the weeks to come, and of course we'll cover that. But guys, I hope you've enjoyed the podcast. Please tune in throughout the week. We're going to do a different team every day. I think tomorrow we're gonna have a look at England maybe. And please like, share, and subscribe. Please leave us a review. It always helps us to know if we're talking kaku or if we're actually in the right ballpark. And have a fantastic week, rugby fans.